We are celebrating another fantastic weekend. In my birth month, August. You know, I'm talking about this celebration all the time. Some of you are probably tired of hearing me talking about this celebration. It was spectacular. And what made it so special is because I had lunch with my two daughters. And people know how much they mean to me. And my grandson was there also. Family is just so important and should be important to all of us. And oh gosh, today was just so awesome having both of them today. Not very often we get a chance to do that. Welcome to Beyond the Runway, inspiring lives through fashion. We launched last week, Beyond the Runway. And this week here, we have to, I always connect with people by their hearts. So the guests that we have coming today, we connected so strong because we are of like minds. We are for the people and think about projects that will empower people. So you're going to be amazed by their stories. But Beyond the Runway was birthed because of the column that we started. And then it was the book that is on Amazon right now. And now it's the show. And it will be featuring people from the world every week. And as I said last week, if there's somebody that you think that is a fit to be on the program, just email us. But I am going to get straight into my in the program right now, and I'm going to be welcoming my first guest, Claudia Vidal. When I say this woman is phenomenal, she sure is. She's not just so she's absolutely beautiful, and I love her accent, and she knows how I feel about her. We're like sisters now, So you're gonna see the beautiful face and the beautiful soul to go with the face. Claudia, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. And I have to say the same about you. You're beautiful in and out. I always say I feel like I know you from another lifetime. I'm so glad we're connected. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, yes, and we met because we were doing our books together, Claudia, and that's I think out of that project, you that lasting relationship and that sisterhood, I'm so happy for, and I want people to know who Claudia Vidal is. I can say about her heart and everything, but if you have 60 seconds to tell them who you really are, tell them who Claudia is.
Sure. So I would like to describe myself as someone who deeply cares. I feel deeply. I feel intensely, and I'm proud of it. I embrace all of my emotions, whether negative or positive. I think that that's my goal in here. I think my goal is to teach others how to be authentic within their own self, not about hiding whether you're angry, whether you're sad, whether you're disappointed, excited. I think that's where the true gems are when you are able to come forward and say, hey, I had a bad day, but I was able to overcome the obstacle and then see something positive from there. That's the true self. That's what we strive for every day. And
I
I
agree.
guess
See, when we
I'm
use the
that.
word authentic. I think when we're authentic to ourselves, we discover that inner peace and happiness that is just so you can't even explain it.
Absolutely. I come from a background where I had to, in my first part of my life, I had to hide who I was. Not because anyone forced me, but because I thought I wasn't good enough. I thought I was, not someone that belonged. I felt out of sync. And I found myself becoming different people, different persons. And it was
Mhm.
so hard to keep up. It was so hard. It's almost like you had that fear, like, I'm going to be found out. Someone's going to find out, and it wasn't until maybe a few years ago, I think around the time when we met, when I said, you know what, people need to know that behind this smile, behind this calm demeanor, there is a person that's insecure. There's a person
And
that's
so
fearful.
many people are in that, and that's why we talk about counterfeit freedom and authentic freedom. And when you can, and I really encourage people to find that, and you can only find that when you find yourself, Claudia. To the people that are
Absolutely.
joining us, thank you so much for joining us. Just tell us where you're joining us from, wherever you are.
Yeah.
Tell us where you're joining us from. Thank you so much. We appreciate you joining us. And Claudia, I know you have many things. You've done many things, and you have many things that are coming up. But one in particular that you're super excited about, and so am I. So tell us a little more about what is going on right now for Claudia. Very soon, you're launching an event next week.
Yes, yes. So in collaboration with, of course, you, we came up with a genius idea that 2 months ago it was just an idea. It was pretty much just like a thought, a seed, and now we see how it's blossoming. We decided that we wanted to teach individuals how to take this story and frame it in a compelling way, in a way
Mm-hmm.
that it creates impact. It's not just a story that belongs to you, but a story that belongs to the world. Because what often we found is that in our greatest pain, in our greatest sorrows, there's a gift, there's a gem that the way it helped you overcome, it can help
Oh,
the
yes.
entire world. It can help children, it can help females, males, and especially during these times where there's so much division, so much uncertainty, where there's this cry, this desire to contribute, to become part of the solution. And
And
that's
what
where,
I like, Claudia, right, is that become part of the solution, what you just said. And and it's virtual. I want people to get it clear.
yeah,
It's a virtual writers retreat. So it's in the comfort of your own home you are joining us
yes,
from. And so
yes.
if there's somebody out there that's, I know a lot of people have already registered. Actually, we have the youngest person is 14 years old from Africa that is part
We're
of the
so
retreat. Not
excited.
just ladies, guys too. If they want to be part of it, how can they be part of it?
So basically, right now, we're basically doing a soft launch. We didn't even promote this. So you can either contact me directly through Messenger. You can email me, Claudia Vidal Inc. at
We're going to share it
gmail.com.
in the Miss Crandon is going to share it in the link so
Yes.
people can get contact, because there's so many people out there that want to tell their stories, especially in this time of what's happening. You know, they have so many experiences. Claudia, what is one takeaway that you've had from the pandemic?
Wow,
One thing
so
that you've taken
many.
away. And that is only 60 seconds. I know if I tell you,
I
if I'm to
know.
say that, you can go. There's so many experiences. 60 seconds. One thing.
So many, but I have to say I have a 10-month-old baby, a little girl. I have other kids. She's my last baby, and this is the first time that I got to basically raise my child while working, and that takeaway to me has been priceless. It's shown me the importance of motherhood at a different level because we tend to be superwoman. We go to work, we come home, we take care of our kids, we take them to babysitters. But I've seen my little baby, 10 months, the past 10 months, take her milestone, do little things that I missed out on my other kids. And now I feel kind of like, wow, I can't believe that I missed out on so much. But now I have the gift to say, you know what, I was part of her life for the first 3 months. And I know at some point things might go back to normal.
So that was
But
really a plus.
that was, and that to me was the biggest gift. And of course, there was a lot of pain. You heard so many stories, but there was also a beautiful, I guess, a phenomenon of inspiration and motivation, and people actually wanted to contribute. And I see it every day. I talk to people. I talk to Sonia, and I've seen people that have been thinking about things forever, and now this is the year
And
that they
now
actually
like for example, like even
they
the
actually
virtual
blossoming.
programs that I've embarked on, because this is a very new space to me. Navigating virtually is very new to me. But it's like, and that's why there's so many silver linings, and we sometimes have to intentionally look for it. Look, for example, that we found a way, the virtual retreat, it was just an idea, and then it was we started talking about it. And then when you're intentional, you said, oh, you know what, let's make this happen. Let's
Yes,
make this happen.
absolutely. And I think one takeaway, I know I exceeded my 60 seconds, but just
Now go
one
ahead,
last
go ahead.
takeaway. One last takeaway is that collaboration is key. We've been hearing this forever, like cooperate, collaboration. But I can tell you that this everything that Sonia and I have been doing would have not been possible if it wasn't because of our collaboration.
Yes.
She's a bright mind, I have great ideas too, but somehow it wasn't working alone. Like we needed to share ideas, we needed to brainstorm together, and that's why we're so excited about the virtual retreat because we have a group of individuals that all come with their own ideas, their
Oh,
own little
yes.
seeds. And I
Oh,
am so excited just to see what's going to blossom from there.
and as they say, collaboration is the new currency, and sometimes it's the only currency we have. And like talking about collaborations, we actually working on the fourth anthology, which is a collaborative effort also with women from different parts of the world sharing their stories. And again, different perspective. It doesn't matter where you're from. Sometimes when you look at the stories, we all would have challenges. It doesn't matter what job you do or how bright you are, how many degrees and everything else. And when people can share their stories, like they say, your story is not for you, it's for someone
That's
else.
true.
So what have you found, Claudia, since you started sharing your story? What have you found? Like how did it affect people?
Oh, I have to tell you that the biggest gift for me was when one of the things I did when I wrote my book, I had left my job at that point because I wasn't too happy with some of the things that, I wanted to test different waters. And what I didn't realize is that so many people were in the same boat. So many people that I knew felt the same way, but they needed the courage to take the next steps. And you don't know the amount of people that came to me and told me, because of your book, I did this.
Yes.
Because I read your story, I decided to take onto this
That is
photography embark. I decided
priceless.
to do this. So I
That
felt
is
like I was like a trailblazer. Like I kind of cast a stone, and then people felt like, okay, she didn't die, nothing happened, so maybe safe.
that's priceless.
Yes.
And
So
when you
to
can
me,
share
that was the
part of
biggest
you
gift.
with the world, and that's why this writers retreat is so important, because at the end of it, people will have their framework for their books, and I know out of
Yes.
that they're going to have so many books before the end of the year on Amazon, and I'm excited about that. Claudia, I want you to finish this sentence for me. What if?
Whoa, what if? Powerful. Actually, in my book, that comes up a lot. I actually use that word, that phrase a lot. What if? Yes. What if you were meant to use your pain, your sorrow, your shame, your experience, whatever hard it was, to touch one life? Just think about it, one life, not the world, one life. What would that life do? And how would that life create a ripple effect for the rest of
Wow.
the world?
I could not have said it any better. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank
Definitely,
you.
you will be back after retreat. I would love for you to come back and talk about it. Thank you so much. And Claudia Vidal, you could go on her page and ask her any questions regarding, and she will be there for you. Thank you. My next guest that will
Thank
be coming
you.
up will be the reggae chef, as they call him. He is an entrepreneur, a food security activist. It's like, food security activist. What is that? I mean, that was my first thing. Like, what is that? It's not a norm that you actually hear, and you're gonna see why. That I am intrigued, and I'm not easily impressed. You're definitely gonna see why as we welcome Mr. Peter Ivy.
Hey Sonia, how are you?
Peter, thank you so much for joining us from Jamaica. From Jamaica.
No, thank you for having me, and congratulations on your new show. I'm sure people are going to love it, and I'm very excited to be on today. And I had a
Oh, I'm
blast
very
listening to
excited to
Miss
have
Vidal
you.
just now.
And Jamaica is one of my special places too. My grandson was born there because my daughter went to school there. And even prior to him, prior to her going to school there, it was a place that I visited Fashion Week and everything else. So that was really special.
Yeah, Jamaica is a
And I was
beautiful
just
place.
talking about my birth month. So anybody who's celebrating their birth month, the entire month, please, happy birthday to you. Because we are lions and lions are leaders, right? Anyway, Peter, thank you so much. And I've been talking about you not just now, from the first time I met you, because I'm not very easily impressed. And we both were at the same event. The first thing that impressed me was a women's event, and he was the keynote speaker. And I was like, okay, when this guy was finished, I was like, I need him for my column. It was like that. I said, I gotta feature him. Peter, it was your demeanor, it was the content, and it was everything about that presentation. And because for me, when I hear about chef, I don't expect this person to be talking about. I expect them to be talking about different things, not what you were talking about. And I think that's what makes you special. In 60 seconds, tell them who Peter Ivy is. I know that's a hard one, but tell them who Peter Ivy is.
um, yeah, that is a hard one. Peter Ivy, first and foremost, is a father. My most important role is a father to my son PJ, right? Peter Ivy is also an entrepreneur. That's the only thing I've ever wanted to do, right? And I'm also passionate about um, the eradication of hunger and solving this food insecurity problem, right? And it's fair to say that those four things or three things sum up my passions. I'm a father, I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm always thinking about how I can lend my skills to the eradication of hunger and food and food insecurity.
Peter, when I think about every time when I look at shows with chefs and everything, all you in the mind that they portray and what they see is like, oh, the plates that must look a certain way, and they're always talking about everybody like the chefs are, I want to work at this restaurant, and especially with the 5 stars and everything else. That is what this portrayed. But when I
Yes.
met you and the conversation that we had it was so far from my image of what some of us chef aspirations would be.
Yes.
And that is what really caught me. And I said, I need more conversations with him. And Peter, you when we mentioned food security, you're an activist. And I want to know how, when in this man's head, I mean, activist, food security, talking about hunger and talking about the preservation of, like, when did that strike you that I need to do this?
That's a very good question, Sonia. I've always had a strong sense of community, of wanting to help my community. I've never really thought of myself as an individual, right? I've always thought of myself as giving back to my community. But where the food security piece really fell into place for me is identifying what my social responsibility is as a chef, right? And real quickly, it was, I think, the spark happened in culinary school, right, where I learned two things almost at the same time. I learned that the culinary field was exploding, meaning the industry is growing, right? And then I happened to attend an event at the United Nations and heard that that global hunger is also on the rise. And these two things just did not make sense to me. How is it that more people are cooking? How is it that there are more chefs coming into the field, but yet still hunger and food insecurity is also on the rise? It just did not make sense to me. And that's when it really hit me that if I'm going to cook for a living, if I'm going to work with my hands for a living, I have to decide who is it I'm going to feed, who is it that needs the food the most, right? And I think from there, I knew exactly what my social responsibility is as a chef. It is to feed the people that need food the most.
Wow,
So that's
that
where
is
it started from.
that there, I mean, Peter, most and what I'm excited about, like when I listen to your story, and because of how inspiration you are, I'm just seeing a group of young chefs that aspiring to be more than just that person that dream of working in a five-star hotel or restaurant. And when I read in the Forbes, I read the link when Forbes magazine had mentioned you, right? And I was like, oh my God, Forbes magazine just don't mention people like that. They did an article on you. How did you feel that such an, I mean, a world acclaimed publication mention the project that you're doing, Peter?
Well, first and foremost, I was extremely proud of my team. When that article came out in Forbes, I was extremely proud of the hard work that my team and I put in to get to that point, right? Also, um, you know, I want the problem of global hunger to be gone, right? It's not about who's doing it, right? It's not about who's getting the most acclaim or the most attention. I want that problem to be gone. I understand what it feels like to be hungry. I understand what it feels like to be food insecure. And so to see our name and our organization in Forbes magazine told us that more people will be aware, right, of the things that we're doing, right? The more people we can reach with our skills and the things that we are teaching and what we're saying about hunger, then the more people that will be positively impacted. And so those are the two things I thought about immediately. I'm so proud of the team, and also this is going to reach more people than I could ever imagine.
Wow, I know it well because when I listen to Kiss, I mean, every time we chat, Peter, no matter how casual
Yes.
it is always, you always drop so many like really great nuggets. I want to ask you, who's your mentor?
Mentor. Um, my mentor,
I
right,
mean,
is
you might have a couple, but like the one that has impacted your life the most.
the one that has impacted. Are you asking me my mentor or my inspiration, Sonny?
No, well, mentors can be inspirations, and then you have an inspiration from what. Just tell me, like, okay, you always so conscious, right? And of course, there are people that you would have admired, people that you would, you pick things up and stuff like that. And some of our mentors we've never even met,
Okay.
right? Like somebody that has impacted your life to make you so conscious of going into this direction.
My level of consciousness, Sonia, comes from one one person, I would say. My inspiration for the things I do comes from Marcus Garvey, right?
And he's
Um,
also Jamaican, right?
and Marcus Garvey happens to be Jamaican. But the great thing, Sonia, is that when I get asked the question about what inspires me or who inspires me or how did I get to think about the community the way I do, people are surprised to discover that my inspiration is a man who lived 100 years ago, is a man who was active 100 years ago, right? And so that's what's truly amazing about the work that Garvey did for our community and for people who look like us, right? Is that he was doing it at a time when you weren't supposed to be doing it, when you had the most fight, right? And so when I look at what Garvey did, that is some of the level of impact that I want me and my team to have on our community today, right? And so, yeah, my level of consciousness is directly influenced by Marcus Garvey.
You know, I'm talking to you now, and I'm thinking when I invited you in Manhattan to that event we had, there was something that you shared there that had everybody's like, wow. When you were talking about the courthouse, the story at the courthouse, that has like been in my mind. I just want you to share it with our audience how profound that was and what happened to you. In you know, we don't. I wish I had like 1 hour to talk to you. You're going to be coming back on the show, but
I,
that story there, because of it just really it just impacted me.
are
I
you
know it
referring?
will impact our audience and inspire someone that's listening that might have been in a very similar situation. Share it with
Are
them.
you referring to the story where I received an award in a courthouse?
Exactly. And what
Right.
happened before you received the award at that courthouse? Yes.
Yes. So, yeah, absolutely. I love to share it. And so, um, I was when I was a teenager, right? When I first got to the United States, I I was arrested, right? And I was arrested for something I wasn't supposed to be arrested for. It was something very silly. It was like walking through a gate that I wasn't supposed to walk through, and the police officer who should have asked me for ID, right, and given me a ticket, decided he wasn't going to ask me for an ID, and I was, he slapped the cuffs on me, threw me in the back of a van, and took me to the jail, right? Um, when I asked why I was being arrested, he said, "This is how we get niggers in the system," right? And I spent the weekend in jail for that one infraction, or trumped up infraction, right? And I never forgot it. As a matter of fact, I was transferred from a jail in Brooklyn, in East New York in Brooklyn, to downtown Brooklyn to a courthouse, because the courthouse is downtown Brooklyn. Their jail cells are underneath the courthouse, right? And almost exactly 18 years later, right? Almost exactly 18 years later, I received an award for being one of the top entrepreneurs in New York City. And I received that award inside the courthouse where I was being held, with the jail underneath that courthouse, right? And I tell this story to let young people know that don't let anybody write your story for you. Even if your story gets hijacked, stay the course. Understand that the universe is looking out for you if you are staying the course. And even when people try to hijack your story, right? Your story is still yours to be told. Nobody can tell the story for you.
You
Right?
are,
It is
I
completely
love
up to
your
you.
passion. When I heard that story, and because of the dynamics of the story, and there's so many young men that were in your position. If don't you think he is super share if you think he is super, super inspirational, share this link with somebody. It's actually today we're you on YouTube also, because we're launching a YouTube channel today. So it's not just Facebook, we're also on YouTube. And Caribbean Power Jam in New York, they're also streaming it also. Thank you, Caribbean Power Jam. Listen, when that's a story that isn't here. That's why I want it is here, because so many young men were in your position for trivial stuff. They just have a record for things that should
Yes.
not have happened.
Yes.
But look at 18 years later.
And it follows them. It followed them around, right? But I made a promise to myself. I was never, ever, ever going to be in that predicament again. And I'm going to show these police officers that they could never hijack my story. And so, yeah.
Because that sometimes hangs over them, and they just tell themselves, look, listen, this, and they just accept the story. You see, like what you're saying, don't let nobody hijack your story.
Right.
I love that, Peter. I love that. I'm going to ask you exactly what I asked Claudia. What if? Continue that sentence for me. What if?
What if black people were supposed to free themselves from mental slavery? What if? What if
Love
we
it.
were supposed to free ourselves from this mental block that we are powerful and we can accomplish anything we put our minds to, no matter what people try to do? What if?
What's next for Peter?
Amazing things, Sonia. Amazing things. The Reggae Chefs is currently under expansion. Mission Food Possible continues to do great work. We're just off the tail end of a very significant virtual event, right? That proved to be impactful. And Sonia, you know me. Business projects are on the way. Amazing things are on the way. Some things I can't talk about, so it's like shh until I see
I
you
know
again,
you will be
right?
back. It's those things I need to know, and my audience need to know. You will be back, Peter. Oh
Right.
my
We're always working and thinking and how can we impact the world in an in an in a very innovative way to make our mark and leave our legacy. And best believe we're working on that day and night. No sleep. We're ready to go.
Oh, I know you are. You are so intentional. When I think about Peter, I think of the word intentional in capital letters, actually. Capital
Yes.
letters. I am
Very
so
intentional.
proud of you. As you know, ever so often I'll send you a message, a little message here or there, because I am super proud of where you are and where you headed. Because
Thank
every
you.
time I
Thank you
talk
so
to
much,
you,
Sonia.
Peter, there's a new project. There's something there that is meaningful. And what is special about it, Peter? It's about people.
Yes.
You have
Yes.
never mentioned any project to me, Peter, that did not benefit the people. And I
Every
must
single one.
applaud
Yes.
you for that.
It's
You're
about the
blessed.
people, Sonia. It's about
Has
the
to be.
people. You mentioned earlier that currency. What is the new currency? Collaboration, right? Collaborate with who? With
Yes,
people, right? And I would like to add to that. It's 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 building up the people, right? The real wealth is building up your community, building up the people. Who are you if you're not building up your community? Who are you, right? We don't know,
that's
right?
real well.
It's who people say we are. That's who we are. It's not who I say I am, right? It's who my community say I am. Is who
Your
I am.
community, they must have the testimony of who
Exactly.
Peter Ivy
My
is.
community is going to define me. That's all that matters, right?
Well, I'm thinking about, let me tell you, like I've been always sharing, when I think about a tombstone and I see that dash, I can see what that legacy is for Peter Ivy. Thank you so much. 30 seconds, parting words to our people. Parting
Um,
words.
listen, I my 30 seconds. I want to thank you for having me on your platform. I want to tell you how inspired I am to see that you're on a new venture, right? I know Guyana love you. I know other parts of the world love you and they're supporting you, right? And so big up to Guyana, seeing, and big up to the whole Caribbean who's tuning into you. I just want to say that you are also inspirational, and I can't wait to see the other folks that you have on your show to inspire people.
Thank you so much, Peter. Thank you. You'll be back after 30 days. I need you. I need to talk about the more things that you're doing. Need you,
No
Peter.
problem.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you.
Much
All
love.
right.
Bye bye. Well, that was Peter Ivy. Well, you guys see why I am so impressed, and I'm not easily impressed. He is amazing. So is Claudia and all the people that we've had on. And thank you so much for joining us. We're going to share the link of the YouTube channel. The link is going to be there. Also, the link for all the programs that we've had. And I want to congratulate the people who have just completed the 21 days, who just started the 21 days and just completed the 7 days of Healthy Thoughts Challenge. You guys are in the right direction. You guys are on a growth journey. And I am so happy to have in a front row seat there to cheer you on and to listen and to join you, because every day I'm doing the same thing that you're doing. I might be your coach, but I'm doing the same thing. So please share this video. There's the link there for the YouTube. Share the info from the YouTube. The content is going to be really awesome. Every day we'll be adding new stuff. Thank you so much, Peter and Claudia, for joining me. And thank you so much to my virtual audience for being so kind to join us again this week. Share it with a friend to join us next week. And if there's somebody that you think that might be a fit that's doing great work and inspiring people, just tell us and we will definitely have them on the show. Again, whatever it is that you're doing this weekend, do something to take you closer to your goals. Do something that's going to make you happy. Like I was dancing in the rain. That made me so happy. I felt so free. Do something that is going to affect someone else's life in a positive way. May God continue to bless us and guide us. Thank you so much.